Hello, good evening. Dr. Trudy Ufondo of Snowspirations Global Health Solutions. Thank you and welcome to our evening open clinic with Dr. Trudy on YouTube. Today, we're going to look at the myth and misconceptions about fertility and infertility. And we have about 11 different misconceptions, myth that so many people believe that this might be the reason why you don't have a baby today. So today we're going to look at the real facts. So what are the realities? What are the facts about infertility? So please, I want you to pay attention when you join, introduce yourself, and as soon as possible, I'm going to start the presentation. We're going to spend about 30 minutes. The first part of my presentation will deal with the realities. Then after that, you will have an opportunity to ask your questions. So this evening, we're going to examine how you can pinpoint the wrong messages about infertility, how you can know the realities, the facts, because knowledge is actually the key to becoming a mother. Knowledge is the key to becoming a father. So when you know, you can act better. So what I'm aiming to do this evening is to equip you with the knowledge so that next time you go out there and someone is telling you lies or feeding you falsehoods about infertility, you can be in a better position to query that person. So I'm going to start. So you see, a lot of couples are going through infertility. You're not just alone. And currently in America, about 6% of Americans from age bracket 15 to 44 can get pregnant after 1 year of believing God for babies. Now, also nearly 9% of men about the age of 25 to 44, probably they've sought help because they can't have their family. So it's not just only you. Infertility remains a mystery for so many people. I know you've been worried about what you can do differently. You've been suggested to do a lot of things and still it's not working. So I'm also, sure you've had a lot of misconceptions, a lot of falsehoods, which probably you've tried and it didn't work for you. So I want to correct those falsehoods this evening. That's the essence of this clinic. And I'm going to start with the first myth. So generally, women are blamed for everything. So the general consensus for most people, especially in the developing country, is, infertility is the woman's fault. This is a very big fallacy. It's a wrong myth. It's not true. What's the reality? What's the factual truth about infertility? Infertility can come from the man. Infertility can come from the woman. Sometimes we might not really know where the infertility can come from. Sometimes both the woman and the man can have infertility at the same time. So the first myth about the fact that typically infertility is a woman's fault, it's not true. It goes both ways. Matter of fact, from current research, it looks more like men somehow are higher when you weigh both of them together. So 1/3 of infertility cases will come from the men, 1/3 will come from the women. Then the other part will be shared by both of them. And in some tiny population, we don't really know where it's coming from. So that myth that infertility, the reason why you don't have a baby in your family is because of the woman, it's not true. 100% false. The second myth, couples should always believe for at least 1 year before seeking for help from their OBGYN. Now, this is partially true, but partially not true, depending on your age and depending on your situation. So for some people, you don't necessarily need to wait for 1 year. Infertility generally is broadly divided as the inability to succeed in becoming pregnant after 1 year. But lately, we have modified that definition because of age 35. So if you are above age 35, you don't need to wait for 1 year before you begin to seek for help. You have to do your best for 6 months. If pregnancy is not forthcoming, then you begin to seek for help early. If you're below 35 and all other indices are okay, and you are not achieving pregnancy, that's where the 12 months will come in. However, there are some couples that will need to start seeking for help immediately. If you have pre-existing medical problems, irregular periods, disturbing fibroids, endometriosis, pelvic inflammatory disease, tubal factor problems, known low sperm count, you can begin early. You don't even need to wait for 1 month. So if you're coming into a relationship with an established medical problems, there is no need to wait. You go immediately and start seeking for help. Now, another myth is the general belief that, oh, once a woman gets to 35, she cannot become pregnant. That's also not true. That's 100% false. A woman can become pregnant up to the point of going into menopause. A woman can become pregnant naturally at any time. However, you should understand that the peak period of your fertility is in your 20s. The older you get, the more your fertility will reduce. It's called reduction. It's not finite. It's not categorical that it will stop. So long as you've not gone into menopause, you can become pregnant naturally. So what we preach the age 35 is to understand that when you get to age 35, you are classified as advanced in maternal age. Your fertility is declining. It doesn't mean you cannot succeed. You can still succeed naturally if you engage in regular participation of lovemaking with your partner. The possibility of becoming pregnant naturally is there. But at that age 35, you need to understand that you need help. The earlier you seek help, the better. But it's not true that when you get to age 35, pregnancy is no longer possible. That's false. Now, the fourth myth says if you use birth control, that birth control will cause infertility. That's also not true. Your pill will not remove or add to your fertility. So assuming prior to your fertility, assuming prior to your wanting to become a mother, you were on so many contraceptives, we have 13 different methods, immediately you stop using them. Some will be in your body for some weeks or months, but immediately they've left your body, your fertility will come back. So using pills, using contraceptions, using birth control pills will not affect your fertility. They do not play a direct or indirect role in your ability to become pregnant. It's expected that when you stop the pills, your fertility will come back. So there are so many factors that will play a role in affecting your ability to become pregnant. Birth control pills is not one of them. Now, the fifth myth, that if a man can ejaculate, he's not fertile. This is very big misconception. It's not true. The fact you're able to ejaculate, what you are seeing visibly is the semen. That's not the sperm. So there are some men that might be ejaculating regularly, but we have not analyzed the content of the semen, which is the sperm right inside the semen, which you can only analyze under the aid of a microscope. So the fact you're meeting your partner and you're ejaculating even bigger volume of semen doesn't mean you're fertile. If you fall into the category of people that have been believing God for a baby and it's not happening, then we need to check the man's sperm parameters. We need to check the count. We need to check the morphology. We need to check the motility. These three parameters will tell us if you have quality sperm. So the criteria for male fertility is not the ability to ejaculate. No, it's the content of the semen. Very important. Now, the other myth says, oh, if you have irregular menstrual cycle, then you have infertility. This is also not true. Some women will have irregular cycle for so many reasons: stress, change in environment, change in diet, change in body weight, and a whole lot of things. Alcohol, smoking, but they can still ovulate. So irregular bleeding doesn't mean you might not ovulate. Your ovulation can skip, but once you ovulate, you can become pregnant. So irregular bleeding and irregular cycle doesn't mean you have infertility. That's not how infertility is diagnosed. However, majority of women, can you take that phone away from here, please? Majority of women that have infertility might present with irregular period. They might present with abnormal duration of their bleeding. They might present with heavy bleeding, light bleeding, and all that, or absence of bleeding. These are the hallmarks of infertility in some women. So it's important to understand that in as much as you might have irregular cycle, it doesn't mean you have infertility. Very important you understand that, okay? So if you have concerns about your irregular period and cycle, please, the best thing to do is not to start freaking out. Interface with your fertility specialist. Let's investigate and see what's going on. Now, another myth says infertility can happen in young men and women. That's also not true. In as much as your fertility declines as you're getting older in a woman, anybody can have infertility, both the males and female, and it can happen anytime. Majority of infertility problems you will have as a young person might be related to your lifestyle. So if your partner is smoking, is not exercising, is under stress, is adding a lot of body weight, definitely it's going to affect the fertility. And it can also affect the female infertility. So infertility can affect any age bracket. But naturally, the older you get, the more the probability you will struggle. It doesn't mean that if you're younger and if you have some factors, it will not affect your fertility. So infertility is not just only for elderly people. It can happen at any age. Now, the other myth says certain sex positions can improve the odds of pregnancy. This is also not true. There is no particular position that will help you to become pregnant or go against your pregnancy. No. What we need is the contact of the penis with the vagina, or contact of the semen and the vagina. So some people will not even have penetrative sex and they can become pregnant. So there is no particular sexual position that will give you advantage towards becoming pregnant. It's not true. So your duty is just to continue regular lovemaking. It's the quality that determines if you're going to become pregnant or not. The quality of the egg and the quality of the sperm. Now, the other myth says infertility is always fixable. Now, unfortunately, in some cases, it might be true, and in some cases, it might not be true. So most couples experiencing infertility, by the time they seek help, they will eventually become pregnant. Even couples that don't have money, if they continue making love regularly, possibility of defeating infertility is high. But it doesn't always mean that you will end up becoming pregnant. Unfortunately, some folks will not become pregnant by themselves. They will need additional intervention. And unfortunately, in some women, even with additional intervention, pregnancy will not happen. So infertility is not always fixable. Matter of fact, in medical practice, we don't like using always and never, because there is no infinite, there is no definite in medical practice. Anything can happen. But generally, couples that have infertility and begin to seek for help will eventually become parents. How they become parents is a different ballgame, because there are different things you can do when things are not going your way. Now, the other myth says your overall health doesn't impact your fertility. Your overall health actually impacts your fertility more than you know. Your overall health, simple things like sleeping, drinking your water, avoiding alcohol, avoiding stress, regular lovemaking, watching your body weight, they contribute. So truthfully, your general health is the biggest factor in your fertility. What you do on daily basis will affect your ability to become pregnant or not. The amount of alcohol you get exposed to, your lack of exercise, your water, your diet, they all affect your ability to become pregnant. Now, finally, they believe that if you can't afford expensive procedures like IVF, you should not consider treatment. This is also not true. IVF is not the first option in management of infertility. IVF is the last. There are so many other ways you can manage infertility. Luckily, in some women, those other methods can work. Majority of women will not need IVF. IVF will only come in if fertility treatment of other methods fail. So there are treatments you can get by the time we've assessed your fertility, which will not involve you going for IVF. And unfortunately, IVF is very expensive. We understand that. But we can start you off with just lifestyle modification. We can give you some medications. We can combine giving you some medications with IUI. Then when it fails, we graduate to IVF. So IVF is the last phase of management. It's not the first. So these are the 11 myths and misconceptions about fertility and infertility you need to understand. So that when you have this knowledge, you can equip yourself with the next stage in managing your infertility. Thank you. That's my presentation. Now I'm going to sit back and I'm very excited to tackle your questions this evening. So please start asking your questions. Feel free and ask me questions related to this topic or generally related to infertility. I'll provide you feedbacks. Immediately after this clinic, I'm going to run another clinic in our Facebook. So if you're in our Facebook, please follow me to our Facebook immediately. Now, tomorrow we are launching our theme for April. In April, we're going to devote April to advancing maternal age. So if you're up to 35 and you're finding it difficult to become pregnant, you are actually in a special category of women we call advancing maternal age. You need additional help. So our summit this month will focus on defeating infertility and achieving pregnancy at advanced maternal age. It will be on the 30th of April, 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Registration will start tomorrow. Please don't miss this for anything. Use your April to acquire the knowledge that will enable you to become pregnant so that by end of this year, you're going to be a mother or a father. So make sure you make provisions for the 30th of this month. It's going to be a Sunday. It's going to be 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Tell your partners. We always encourage partners to attend our events together. Is infertility hereditary? Some aspects of infertility can be hereditary. From modern researches, there are a couple of things that if it happened to your mom, the possibility it will happen to you is very high. Up to the point of certain milestones like menopause. So the age your mom entered menopause can also affect the age you enter menopause. If your mom had fibroid, the possibility you will have fibroid is high. There are also some congenital problems in the family. So there are some familial situations, some autoimmune diseases that can also affect your ability to become pregnant. Some families might have predisposition for diabetes. Some families might have predisposition to obesity. Some families might have predisposition for problems in the reproductive system. So there are some aspects of reproductive health that can be familially determined. So the answer is yes. Okay? I love that question, COO. Please keep asking your questions. IV or SARS, this is your opportunity. Please ask your questions and other people in the background. Feel free, ask your questions. If possible, we can round up this clinic by 20 minutes. So feel free, ask all your questions. Can you explain the cultural myth of elephant pregnancy in women? Now, COO, surprisingly, I don't even know about this myth. Please, will you mind breaking it down for me? What's the relationship between elephant pregnancy and a woman? Please explain it better. Because maybe I'm gonna give you a different explanation. So if you wouldn't mind, break it down a little bit. Do you mean the accumulation of fluid when a woman is pregnant? Do you mean the big size of women that are pregnant and all that? Please make it very simple so I'll give you my feedbacks. There are so many myths about pregnancy. There are so many myths about conception. And of course, there are so many myths about having babies. So the ones I know, I will explain. The ones I don't know, I'll go and research, then I will tell you. Keep asking your questions, please. Do we have any other questions? If not, we can adjourn the clinic. CO, I'm still waiting for your explanation for this elephant pregnancy. I'm actually interested in knowing about the concept myself. So can you explain it a little bit better? So I'll give you my feedbacks. Okay. It looks like COO it's probably typing or something, but it's 20 minutes right on that. And if we no longer have any other question, then I will likely adjourn the clinic. Okay, elephant gestation is about 18 to 20. Some women seem to be able to. No. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. So correct. Now you see the difference between the gestation age of pregnancy in an elephant. So gestation is the whole duration of that pregnancy. The duration of pregnancy in males, sorry, the duration of pregnancy in a woman, it's about 42 weeks, which is approximately 9 months, right? Now in elephant, it's 18 to 22 months. That's a whole lot. Now there are similar characteristics between elephants and humans. They are both mammals. The humans will deliver their babies within 42 weeks, which is about 9 months. However, elephants will deliver their babies just about 22 months is approximately 2 years. If you put 2 more months, it's 24 months. So it's not true. Gestation period, gestation duration of pregnancy in elephants and a woman, they are not the same. Ime eyi in Igbo, no. That's a wrong, strong myth. It's not true. So the reason why a woman will not be able to become pregnant after a particular pregnancy, it's because of secondary infertility. So we need to check the woman and we need to check the man. I love that, Kenneth. Thank you so much for bringing me to this knowledge. Somehow I haven't heard this. Maybe I've become too Americanized. Okay, so COO, do you have any other question? If not, we can adjourn and move to our Facebook. Do you have any other question? All right, thank you so much. I love that question. Please, you're going to repeat this question on our Facebook so that other people will learn. Okay, awesome. So guys, thank you so much. That's it for us this evening. Remember, the next clinic in YouTube will be on Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, US, 5 p.m. Nigerian time. If today is the first day attending my clinic in YouTube, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Please remember to subscribe. Remember to share this channel. Remember to go to our archives of videos, so many educational videos that will help you to know better. Tell your community about our group. We are all here to help you to understand your body better, to become pregnant and become a woman, become a man, just the way God made you. Thank you so much. And please join me to our Facebook group and page where I will continue my conversation. God bless you and enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.